the whole 6 UM ordeal was kind of my, is it 6 or 7 stages of grief? Like, in the very beginning, it was a lot of denial.
In the beginning, you were like, fucking no.
I was like, hell's no.
In the very beginning conversations.
No. I wasn't hell no. I was
Ryan is fucking persistent.
I was like, in the very beginning, I was like, what else are you bringing?
Yeah.
Welcome to the Shoot to Hunt podcast.
In the bush.
The African bush. We've got Father Christmas, Jake Mashani, and his little elf, Ryan. Too bad they cannot see anything in the bush.
The little elf is still mad at me for walking very fast.
Ooh.
Apparently the little elf has to run.
He wears Crocs.
He wears Crocs.
You can't help stupid people, Neil.
I've been trying to this whole week.
That was quick.
Well said. Must be talking about Blaine.
Sure. That makes you feel better.
When me and Blaine are in the truck driving, we have the most intelligent conversations. Like, it's a good thing you guys aren't there because you will feel so out of place. You do not.
Did I tell you I flew a plane?
What?
You?
No, that's the conversation.
No.
Oh.
No.
I flew a plane and I shot a Cape Buffalo.
That's 2 things more than you can say.
Oh, I could fly a plane, just that I couldn't land one.
You didn't talk about the 416.
The 416.
Yes.
The 416 is the true hammer of God this trip.
What?
It has killed everything quickly.
Uh-huh.
No screwing around, no chasing them for 100 yards, no this, no that. Boom, dead. You know,
How far did the Buffalo go?
When they're 20 yards in front of you.
Yeah, they were further, but it doesn't matter. It just...
Was it 30 yards?
No, they were like 80.
So you can't tell me right now, Blaine, that now that you shot the buffalo and you proceeded through your week to have other options like Impala and blessbuck and things like that, you do not wish at all that you would have brought a lower caliber rifle more suited for that job.
Since I've been using the 416, no, because it's plenty capable for the ranges we shoot here.
I think that's bullshit.
I don't believe that.
So right
either.
now, look, today you would have went out with Neil, and Neil would have put you on a blessbuck at 400 yards, let's just say. That was your opportunity, was 400 yards.
No, the opportunities were around 2, which is piece of cake for the 416.
This is a scenario.
Oh, you're going to make up stuff that...
No, because
it
it already happened one time this trip at 500 yards, so it's not made up.
298 today.
298 today and 500 with Jessica on a blessbuck. So we're talking about blessbuck. 400 yards was your opportunity today.
Yeah, 400 to be tight with the 416.
Tight.
Yeah,
you wouldn't have taken the shot.
Probably not. I'd would at 300 though.
But the opportunity was at 4. But that doesn't make you wish you would have had another weapon.
No, not after.
Well, that doesn't make any sense. It's like 1 + 1 = 3.
It just kills stuff so well.
That's common.
Inside of 100 yards.
No, it kills stuff just fine at 300. And
okay, so if that blessbuck was out at 300 yards,
we'd set up and shoot it.
You would have shot it.
Yep. And I'm gonna make a 41 caliber hole through it, and it's gonna die.
Well, it was at 400, so you didn't get to kill it.
400 would be. I'd be concerned. I didn't practice at 400 with it, so I wouldn't want to shoot it that far. But if I was doing a dedicated small plains game hunt, I think a 30 cal would be better.
Well, to dovetail a little bit, obviously a 30 cal would be better, but you can't hunt dangerous game with 30 cal. So if you're going to bring one gun and you're going to do both, bring the bigger of the two.
But wouldn't you just bring like a 375 Ruger?
Yes. Well, I would say the 416 with a higher variable scope and 375 Ruger with the same scope is going to be very similar to each other. So
the 416, like we were talking today, it probably hits harder than the 375. So if you can shoot it, and I don't say that to say, I'm a tough guy and can shoot it. You just got to get used to the recoil because the 375s are a lot milder than the 416. But man, when you watch that, and we'll see the video, that when it hit that buffalo and it hunched up like that, it's like, man, it was hit good.
That's what so anyways, we're what day are we, Luke? Day 5?
4.
Day 4?
5, Monday, 6, 4.
Day 4, we got Ryan, Blaine, Neil, and of course the most important guy, Jake, here on the podcast. It's Sunday, right? Sunday
Correct.
Morning.
Yes.
We just had a badass Sunday morning. Of course, we're discussing that Blaine wished he would have brought 2 rifles.
No. No.
Instead, Blaine wants to live in his own. He doesn't. He's just going to be stubborn and not admit that there would be more opportunities given with a second.
If you know how to hunt, you can get close enough where the 416 is not a problem, man.
I'm on Blaine's side because I'm very glad Blaine didn't bring 2 rifles.
Oh, because you got the well, that makes sense, obviously.
Oh, yeah, I didn't think about that.
No, if you're going to make me be serious, after the buffalo, I would have grabbed a 30 cal to hunt everything else with.
This was the only point, Blaine, but you just want to stick with the 416.
But my point was the 416 is killing these little animals so much better than I thought. I did not think, because I've shot hogs in Texas with 416, and it just pokes a hole through them. It doesn't do much damage. Yet on the Impala that I shot, it flattened it.
Okay, so if we talk a little bit of overkill, a 416 on an Impala you think is a normal situation?
No, but the point is, and guys get this messed up, the big calibers don't kill better on everything. They kill better on big stuff with a lot of resistance to make the bullet expand and do its thing.
That's what the purpose is.
And when you shoot smaller animals, they poke holes through them. And the Impala, you see the exit hole in the Impala was the same size as the entrance hole. There was no expansion, no bullet upset or tumbling or anything. But what I want to talk about is the eland, because that was special. I mean, the buffalo was super special, but the eland, and on day one we're walking back with Neil, and there's this huge eland, and it's on a feeder. And he said, well, yeah, I've been trying to hunt that for 2 years. And I'm like, seriously? It's right there. He said, well, you can shoot it. I don't want to shoot it off a feeder. He goes, trust me, when you hunt it, it's not the same animal. Okay, fine. So then we actually, after the buffalo, went after the eland. And oh, my God, he just gives you the slip. He is really hard to get a shot on. Well, finally, with Peter, we got into a place, and actually it was more than just Peter. It was people saying, hey, he's here now with a cow. And so we all came up and got around it. I mean, I think it was everybody. I think Neil, you were part of that. Yep. I think Neville was helping. I think Ed, everybody was there.
I think Neil got on the radio once we saw him next to the house here. I think Neil got on the radio, said, everybody stop what the fuck you're doing. We're going to kill this fucking eland right now. I think that's what happened.
And so, he was spooky. And Peter got me in there. And I don't know, I think he said it was 70, 80 yards, something like that, and set up. And he said, all right, he said, and there was a cow behind it. And we didn't know. Now, eland is bigger than a Cape Buffalo, but we didn't know if that Swift A-frame would have gone all the way through it or not. I didn't want to shoot 2 animals. So we're standing there waiting for it. And by the way, a 416 is very appropriate for an eland.
Oh, yeah.
And so, anyway, we're waiting and waiting. And I'm looking through the scope. And yeah, you know Ryan, but anyway, looking through the scope and watching it, it seemed like it took forever, but finally the cow moved off and the bull turned, slightly quartering to us, and Peter said, right on the shoulder. And so I lined up, shot, boom, and he starts laughing after the shot. And I racked around and didn't see it anymore. I think it went 10 yards and fell over, and it was dead. And the bullet was on the far side of the hide. It did not exit. I guess it makes sense. Are they as thick as a Cape Buffalo?
No, not as thick, but pretty dense.
Anyway, but that's just a testament, like Ryan's talked about. That's a really, really good bullet for this type of application.
Yeah.
And
I got a good video. I interviewed you right after it happened. Of course, you're very excited, and then you could actually grab the bullet underneath the opposite side hide, and then Neil cut it out. But it was pretty. You could feel the mushroom and went all the way through and just laid right next to the hide.
Yeah. And then later Peter got me on the Impala at a similar distance, and it was through all this thick brush and stuff, and I go, you want me to shoot through that? He goes, yes. Okay, boom. Impala just went down, and he starts laughing again. Anyway, the whole point on this is I was really surprised that the large cartridge would do so well on the smaller game. I thought it was going to be a tracking. We'll find out when in the blessbuck.
But it's like pointing a fucking tank at a squirrel.
Well, yeah,
of course it's going to destroy the squirrel.
Except the bullet does not expand. There's more damage done with a smaller bullet at higher velocity in these smaller animals.
Uh-huh.
You know, like with the like your 6.547 just tears them up when it goes inside. This just puts a 416 hole all the way through it, and it's not optimum. But if you're doing a combination hunt, I think it's a really good choice because it's plenty capable of any dangerous game, and it does okay. If you get the right bullet, it does okay out to about 300 yards, I think is the practical limit of the range of it. So you can do quite a bit with it if you don't bring 2 guns. So anyway.
Enhance your shooting experience with STOCKY'S stocks. Are you tired of struggling with mediocre rifle stocks that hinder your performance? Imagine having a high-quality rifle stock that not only enhances your accuracy, but also provides superior strength in a lightweight build. STOCKY'S Stocks offers a wide range of premium rifle stocks manufactured with hand layup carbon fiber construction, a patented carbon fiber AccuBlock, and multiple finish options. Whether you're a long-range shooter or a hunting enthusiast, our stocks are perfect for you. Experience unmatched precision and durability with STOCKY'S stocks. We provide stock installation instructions, technical support, and guidance to help you choose the right stock for your rifle. Upgrade your shooting game today with STOCKY'S stocks.
That's kind of my story for the last couple of days.
You could take that 375 Ruger, though, and you could load it with whatever you wanted to kill your buffalo, and then you could get some fucking 350 grain A-tips for all the planes.
Yeah, but let's see. For the 416, they make. I could do that too. They make, what are they? They make 400 grain match bullets for that, and that might not be a bad idea.
I don't know.
A little more frangible bullet.
When I asked Neil what he would use, I really thought he would say a 30 cal for plains game side of it, and he said, "No, I'd like to have a 6.5 PRC."
Yep. Well, that's because the recoil is less, the 6.5 PRC. And I've seen it happen. It's a very popular caliber nowadays. And big 30 cals can be spicy sometimes.
Oh, you guys.
Especially...
Universal sign for weak. Right?
Yeah, well, especially in lightweight guns. Some 30 cals can... People, they anticipate. It's very natural to anticipate recoil. We all do it. So then the bigger the caliber, the more recoil there's going to be, the bigger chance of not making a good shot.
So going back to the fucking tank at a squirrel, basically follow-up shots are easier with a 6.5 than a 416. And follow-up shots could be very important, especially out here, and I learned that today with my situation.
Just think if you would have hit it with a 416, though.
Well,
it may not have done anything.
It might, yeah.
He's a big animal, though. You said you were, 100 yards, 150?
Yeah. The point is that maybe I did hit it with a 416, but it didn't go down. But the 416 recoil, you're not spotting your impacts at 100 yards.
Oh, no, you're
with your
spotting
rifle.
Your impacts
you're simply
ever.
not. This was the toughest fucking animal to see through the shit that we were seeing. I was so scared to come off the rifle that I would lose the animal and not be able to find it again at 100 yards through the rifle scope. That's how hard it was to see. So if you take that first shot, if I don't know, we wouldn't have dropped that animal today if I had a 416.
And even, I may be wrong on this, you guys can tell me, but even the way you load it, no, usually I'm right, but the fucking, the way he had you load up your rifle for your buffalo, the reason why he wanted that mushrooming bullet is he wanted to touch more tissue, correct?
Yeah.
To where the next were solid, they're not going to touch near the tissue.
No, not at all.
Well, Jake and me are shooting bullets that are fucking going to touch a lot of fucking tissue.
Oh, yeah.
And that's a big difference than yours are zinging right through things.
Yeah. Well, solids is made to touch central nervous system, and not made to touch tissue.
Yes.
Yep. Well, what I do like for a dual gun is 370. I'm a big 375 Ruger guy, and that's very uncommon for South Africans because we are big 375 H&H people. But I like the Ruger.
What's the difference between the two?
So,
I mean, I can picture an H&H in my head.
Yes,
but Ruger's not common for us.
Yes, it's a very old caliber. So it was obviously made to shoot with all the H powders. It's got a very, what do you call it, shallow shoulder. Mm-hmm. It's got more of like just a bottleneck type of deal. It's an express length cartridge with a belt. It's very long. And the 375 Ruger is a long action, beltless cartridge that with the same load, same bullet, gets roughly 150 feet per second more.
Okay.
So you can shoot, you don't have to shoot a long action, you can shoot, or an express length action, you can shoot a 30-06 length action with a beltless cartridge. The same load is going to get you higher velocities.
So why in the States, but why are people more inclined to build a 375 H&H than over the Ruger?
I think it's nostalgia.
Yeah,
probably.
Oh,
it's
really?
all the shit that's been written is all around the 375 H&H for Africa.
But I mean, 375 Ruger is the parent case for 300 PRC.
Oh, really?
Yes.
Yeah.
Okay.
375 Ruger was before 300 PRC. So
It's very good design.
So it must look kind of like a 30-06, almost a straight wall with a very, very shallow shoulder.
H&H or Ruger?
Like a 30-06 is a very shallow shoulder.
Yes, so
right?
Well, like a
375.
270 almost.
Yes, like a
Okay.
375 H&H is it's more like a shallow taper than a shoulder.
Yeah.
Yeah, but the Ruger's got a fairly big taper. It's a sharp shoulder cartridge, and it works. I mean, if you shoot, coming back to it, if you shoot a 270 grain TTSX, you're going to get speeds in excess of 2,700 feet per second.
Before we go past his big bore there, why don't you like the Barnes?
Impact velocities. Well, if you don't get the impact velocity high enough, the Barnes, they don't do what they are made.
2,000 plus, huh?
Even more, I would say 2 plus to
So
really
you
get a
could-
Barnes to work.
And you don't like the CX, so you also agree monos suck.
Yes, most monos suck, but in big bores they work very well, and because the surface area increases a lot
Gotcha.
more.
But would you take the A-frame, it's just a grown-up partition, or the mono
no A-frames?
A-frames?
Yes. Oh, definitely A-frames.
Gotcha.
Yep, that's it.
Is that for you, sir?
I am out to go caress my big bore and make sure it's happy.
Ah!
Oh, Mrs. Munitions, you're up. Blaine's going to go out there and walk around with it going, you're still my baby.
I know I said
still
300
love
PRC, but I didn't mean it.
I didn't mean
I
it.
didn't mean it.
They
It's
made
only
me
you,
say
baby.
that. They made me say that.
Now he can't defend himself. I was like, fuck you guys.
Oh, shit.
Hello, Mrs. Machaney.
Yes. How has your week been?
Oh,
Hold
it's
on, let me fix this a
incredible.
little bit.
Maybe up over your mouth a little bit so you're not
Right.
breathing on it. There you go.
No, a little right there.
There we go.
It'll be interesting to hear.
Right.
Yeah, what has been your perspective of the whole week so far?
But
And then-
run us through expectations first. Like, what did you expect and how was it finally getting here? Because you're not really married to Mr. Research. So, like, what did you expect beforehand?
No, I am married to Mr. Research.
Okay.
Different, though. Way different.
No, we're talking like Mr. Research like Blaine.
Oh,
Blaine,
yeah.
yeah.
Like, Blaine knew everything.
Okay.
Blaine, before Blaine even stepped foot here, he knew what it was like to step foot here.
Yes. And
Yes.
Tanya,
All the way through.
Ryan's wife, asked all the right questions, surprisingly. When she phones me, she asked, like, about the load shedding and everything. And so she asked a lot of, like, very relevant questions.
Uh-huh.
Where Jake was just like, I'm going to get on a plane.
Yeah, how many questions? How many questions did I ask you?
Yeah, like, what? What do you need?
So I did my own little bit. Yeah, exactly. I was worried about you instead of me, right? Like I kind of had a general idea about how it was going to go, and I am kind of just
Let's do it.
I guess just fucking go with it. Let's.
All right.
So speaking of that too, because Ted, you mentioned earlier, she's like, why aren't you on Rockside? Well, for me, like so Ryan's posting everything as we're going, and for me, like it's been a big, and she could say the same thing. For me, I haven't touched my fucking phone barely. I have not done any unknown munitions work. I have really tried to disconnect a little bit. I don't even want to deal with any, let alone drama. To me, there's a lot of drama with the forum threads and people defending this or that. And I just wanted to have a fucking badass time this week and really not try to think about work.
All right, good stuff.
Yeah.
All right, hit us, Jessica. Expectations.
And Ryan's on Rockside right now.
I didn't really have any expectations. I wasn't even sure if I was going to shoot something. I was kind of just
What?
along for the ride. Yeah, like I didn't really
Got to get that a
know
little
what
bit
to
lower.
expect.
A little bit lower. Right there.
When Jake first said, I'm going to go to South Africa, I was like, heck yeah, but not to shoot anything, just to come and experience another country and kind of the culture of that. And this trip has been incredible. More than I can. I told Jake this morning, if we ever come back, I don't know if it can ever be topped. And it would be about just living in the moment. And
Yep.
yeah, it's been incredible.
There's a saying that goes that says, the only person I envy is the guy who goes to Africa for the first time. Because he gets to experience everything. I think it was a US president who said that.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I imagine
I can
so.
see that.
Yeah.
Absolutely.
Which I guess was also part of the reason for not so much research.
Yeah. It's just
Yeah, let it
experience
come.
everything firsthand.
hmm
All right. And then you got here.
Then I got here. Actually, we got here midday. Well, really late. So the next day we only hunted, I think, in the evening,
The
right?
afternoon, yes.
Yeah. So that day I saw some impala, saw some animals that I'd never seen before. try to get on some impala, but I'm a little short. Couldn't see over the high brush. I actually really thought that it would be a lot flatter. You just see animals left and right, but you can't see anything.
Like on TV, the Serengeti.
Yes.
No.
You cannot see anything. They'll literally put my binocular, my binos right there, and I'm like, what? And I cannot find
do you
them.
see how she said Bino?
She's wrong.
I've been trying to say binos, but
There you go.
when you live
There
with
you go.
somebody that says the other thing, that's the only thing you know.
I said Binos.
Yeah. And the first real day was incredible. I couldn't have asked for anything more. There was 2 animals I really liked. I thought an impala and a kudu, and somehow I got both of them. It was incredible. So it's been a great trip. It's been amazing coming here. I had only shot 2 animals, so now I have 5.
Okay.
Now I have 5 animals down.
And you never thought after shooting a kudu and an impala that you would be able to top that?
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. And that was all I wanted. So then yesterday Neil takes me out and we go to this other area and I didn't think I was going to be going after anything else. We were going over there. Jake really wanted a sable.
Disclaimer, her husband was with us the whole time.
Yeah,
Yes.
I was there.
I didn't take you guys. She's like, and Neil takes me
Hey, he's not worried about me. He's
Yeah.
worried about his wife listening.
Disclaimer. Like, we had supervision the whole time.
Yeah, that's
Yes,
right.
goodness. Yes. So we go over there and we're just looking and
We were looking for Oric.
we were. And then we went up to this glassing spot and Neil looks over there and he's like, oh, do you see that blessbuck? And so I'm looking at it and then instantly he kind of takes off. And then I hear Jake say, are you looking for a lane? And then they're going back and forth about not having the bipod for prone, but never.
Oh, Neil did it all.
Yeah.
He fucking handled business.
And then I go walk over there and Neil's like, Jessica, get behind the rifle. And I'm like, what? Because this animal looks far.
It was fun.
It was far.
It looks far. It was windy.
Yes.
You made some contraption.
So what we did is we took the vortex tripod. To Ryan's disgust, we took the vortex tripod and we folded it, all the legs open to make it look like a spider, and we got it very low down.
Yeah.
And I had a second rear bag in the truck, so we gave her a second bag. So she had bag in the front, bag in the back.
Yeah.
And yes, we had a 5 to 7 mile per hour crosswind.
It was actually just how Form likes it, with the mullinator upside down on the front for the fore end of the rifle.
Yes.
And then a flexible rear bag. It was perfect.
We had to take the bino harness, the binos, put it underneath the rear bag just to gain a little bit of height. But she looked fairly comfortable.
So I get behind the rifle and
The animal walks away.
And the animal does. He leaves. Well, I think he was still there originally.
Yes, behind the tree.
And I couldn't see him through the scope, so Jake starts
shouting at you.
Yeah. when he's hunting,
Never
he turns
happened.
into a different person.
Never happened.
Very impatient.
No.
Getting
way.
my adrenaline. So we start bickering.
Yes.
Neil makes him move.
Neil's like, quit fighting. So I just got up and walked away.
Yeah. So then Neil comes over, calmly sits next to me and asks if my height is good and, find the animal and just so calm. And then he has me dry fire a few times and then he starts talking to me about hold and win. And I'm like, what? He's like, 0.2 MOAs, 0.4 MOA.
Oh, Mills.
Mill. And I had no idea what he was saying. So he's trying to describe. He's like, we're going to hold wind.
It's very hard to describe something to someone to intentionally miss in order to hit the animal. So you're not the very first person to not really. But after I showed you on the phone, I think you kind of knew.
Yeah.
What's
so he's trying to
happening.
explain to me, how to look at it. I'm like, can you just show me a picture?
Yeah, so I Googled the reticle
Yeah.
on Google. It was
Yeah.
like zooming in on the Mill XT reticle. I was like, you see that? That's your new hold.
Yeah, and it was instantly he showed me the picture. I guess I need to see what
Yeah.
And I'm like, oh, I understand. You want me
Well,
to?
she had never held wind in the reticle before.
Yeah.
I always kind of take care of her and dial
Yeah.
it for whatever reason, just like my boy for the longest time.
Yeah.
And
Yeah. The
Make it
reason
easy.
why I don't like dialing for wind is, well, spoiler, the animal went down right on the shot. If the animal doesn't go down and they run to a certain direction, and we now all of a sudden have a new wind call, like let's say they run downwind and now we're shooting with the wind, now we have wind dialed in there. So if you keep the wind on 0 the whole time, we can kind of do wind calls on the fly I don't have to dial wind for you the whole time. So,
which makes sense.
yes. Luckily, the animal turned around and faced downwind, which made our job a lot easier because it means if we get our wind bracket wrong, we're not shooting towards the guts. We're shooting towards the front of the animal. So we had about a 0.6 to a 0.4 wind bracket. So it wasn't that bad. So then the animal turned around and I told her, just shoot your typical North American shot. Just put it in the crease and shoot.
Yeah.
So everything on video.
And I did.
Yep.
And the animal instantly fell. And I was so excited. It was the most gratification just to see. There was so much stress going into that moment between Jake yelling at me to find him and me trying to learn about wind call and everything else. And so just to see that blessbuck fall down and we all jumped and screamed. And I will say I'm shooting Jake's rifle, so I will definitely change my rifle to a rock stock because being able to
No, we're just going to sell that one and that one's yours now. You shoot it too well.
It's green. I don't want a green rifle.
It doesn't matter.
What's wrong with
It doesn't matter if it's green, it kills.
But I mean,
It's
just
no
being
hog,
able
but it's okay.
to spot, to spot the impact, stay in the scope and watch it. It was just.
Yeah, and you saw it go down
I saw
through
it.
the scope.
Yeah, I was in the rifle the whole time. It was, it was.
Bang flops are pretty exciting in the moment. As long as they don't get back up, of course. But a bang flop,
If you look at the video, you can hear our excitement behind the camera.
Yeah.
So.
And, the 2 days before that, my kudu, when I shot the kudu, he instantly took off. And so then you're looking for it and that feeling of, okay.
Are we going to find it?
Yes. And that feeling is really shitty.
Yeah. And apparently when you guys found the kudu, there was apparently a lot of tears, a lot of hugging.
Oh, yeah.
So what did you do, Jessica, when there was a lot of tears and hugging?
With me? What?
He's saying that Jake is doing the crying and tears.
Oh. Yeah, I get it.
Hi, I'm Brent Jarbo, CEO of ADG. For the past decade, we've been dedicated to crafting the highest quality, 100% American-made rifle brass to meet all your hunting and long-range shooting needs. This year, we're excited to introduce our new 6.8 Western and 270 WSM cases. With over 250 years of combined industry experience, we're committed to excellence. Look for our distinct orange boxes wherever you buy your reloading supplies. Whenever you need quality rifle cartridge cases, choose ADG Premium Rifle Brass, where precision meets performance.
Yeah, so Peter, the PH, I was with Peter. Jake and I were with Peter that day, and so he's just tracking it, and it looked like he had a little bit of concern on his face. You're not really sure. And then all of a sudden we get to the fence.
There was no blood, right?
Yeah.
So we everything with what we do is is there a blood trail that you can track or whatever? But these guys are they're literally tracking the footsteps through the dirt, which they're very good at. So it's a whole different.
So we get to this fence and I'm thinking, well, if we didn't see it now and here's a fence,
where is it?
Yeah. So then he looks down and he's looking at the tracks and he goes, my gut instinct tells me he went over the fence. So then we just turn, we look over the fence. There was the road, another fence, and there he was laying there. And Peter and I saw him, I think, at the exact same moment. And he just grabbed me and was squeezing me so. I mean, it was like he was Jake.
Yeah.
Honestly, he was just so happy. And just,
Oh, and when they say fence, you mean a cattle fence?
Yes.
Okay.
Yes.
So we are cattle farmers, so a lot of cattle fences.
Yeah, and it was so he jumped over the fence and then he could see the tracks on the road and then over the fence again, basically. And he was just on the other side.
Yeah, just laying there.
And also Peter again, so seems like Peter's been getting the job done.
Peter's a very good tracker. We had the same situation with the Nyala. No, not the Nyala, the waterbuck.
Waterbuck
was the first one I shot.
Waterbuck was with Neville.
Yeah, that's what I'm saying. But waterbuck with Neville was just as good of a tracker as far as there was no blood. It was one in, no out, no exit, and a very big animal. And, just tracked it in 100 yards. They were both about 100 yards worth of tracking. But yeah, it's very upsetting during that searching time. And
then this morning, speaking of Peter, Peter went with you, right?
He's a shit tracker this morning.
So what happened this morning?
Damn, he's not in here. We went for Tanya's kudu. And yesterday we were looking for Tanya's kudu yesterday afternoon too, and he's like, "There's a one-horned big ass water buck in here, and do you want to shoot it?" And I was like, "I'm a kind of if the moment's right kind of guy."
Yeah.
You know, kind of like when you take the boner medicine, the moment's right. You know, they're sitting there in the. You never seen that fucking?
Yeah. I'm with you.
Yeah. Well, the moment's right. Anyways, we bumped these kudu. They're kudu are good, hard to hunt.
Yep.
It's funny. People say a lot of shit about hunting in Africa, but it ain't fucking easy.
Well, Ryan, did they tell you what their name is in Africa?
The gray ghost.
The gray ghost.
The funny part was Peter. I always bust Peter's plan when he's trying to show us something, and he's trying to show us the difference between a female kudu and a male kudu. And I said, "Yeah, their back hoofs outside because they have hips." He's like, "Damn, I was trying to tell you guys." So, they're just like elk.
Yeah.
Elk are the same. The bulls are bigger in the front, and the cows are bigger in the back. Yeah. So, anyways, we were looking for kudu. Like I said, they're hard to hunt. They kind of busted us, and I didn't know this, but yesterday we got busted with Neil, and I said, "Do you usually catch them again and shoot them?" He goes, "Not very often." So the kudu busted us. And we were kind of following them, and we got to a little road, and there was the whole one-horned bastard standing there. It took me about 0.5 seconds.
I was gonna say you saw him and you knew.
0.5 seconds.
Bitch.
And Tanya had the gun, and Tanya was already handing it to me before it even really came out all the way out of Peter's mouth. Tanya turned around and was handing me the rifle. And I at the same time I was handing Peter binoculars. I said, range. Because it was down there. It was 298, and it was like 0.4. 0.3. And I got on the sticks, and I wasn't joking. I got on the sticks because the goddamn Vortex. I know that was Leo Frodo. I can't even blame Vortex.
Leo Frodo
on this one. The front leg was loose, and I'm trying to get on it, and it's sliding, so I'm trying to hold it and slide it, not let it drop anymore. And I kind of got it where I was locked in, and he was getting a little antsy, and I pulled the trigger, and he dropped. And Peter said, shoot him again. So I shot him again, and he was kicking. That son of a bitch.
Where'd you hit him on the first shot?
It's a debate. We're going to find out.
Oh, we're going to go look at it.
Definitely somewhere in the shoulder because it was central nervous system and dropped.
Yeah.
And then on the ground, shoot him again. So I shot him. It looked like it went through the back of his neck. Hard to tell. That sucker kicked himself, hit the fence. And I heard Peter say something about, hope he doesn't break that fence. My dad's going to be pissed. And he got his shit. It's a cattle fence. He could jump over this fence. The actual two water buck, is it cows, right? Mm-hmm. The cows jumped the fence, and he was about to when I shot him. Yeah. And he got his shit together and got up and took off. So we walked down there, and, you said Peter's a good tracker. I don't doubt that at all. But he got like 5 or 6 steps in. He goes, I'm just going to call the tracker because this is going to be difficult because the ground was a little harder to follow something in.
He probably couldn't see anything.
But what's funny about the track? Me, Tanya, Luke, and Peter looked for that thing till they came for 30 minutes or so.
Yeah.
Nothing. And then Douglas shows up.
Dougie
shows up and he looks at the ground. You're trying to get some information from him. And he's like, I said, what are you looking for? He said, tracks.
Man of very few words.
I said, okay. And you just watching him, and he's just walking, and he looks, and he'd walk, and he looked. And then a classic, Neil's dad is one of a kind. And he's like, he don't know what he's doing. He's out there looking for chickens. And then they both got out there about 150 yards, and they both gave us a thumbs up, and he's like, he found it. He's like, something about, find a chicken once in a while. And we got in and drove over, and he's 125, 140 yards.
So he showed up and walked right to it.
Literally from the time Douglas got there, started, and followed him is probably 3 minutes, 4 minutes.
No shit.
And we had walked through there.
Yeah.
And to Peter's credit, he's like, this is a needle in a haystack because the grass is, 3-4 feet tall. Yeah. They just got to fall over, and you ain't going to walk unless you walk right into them, you ain't going to find them. And the one thing about these animals is they do not bleed. They do not bleed.
I think it's just first it's the size of a moose. I mean, for the Americans that are listening, it's a fucking moose.
And you shot a very thick waterbuck as well.
Yeah.
Yes.
Waterbuck are big in general, and you shot a proper big bodied.
Yeah, and you don't even see usually you'll see fleshy parts of an elk or a deer. You don't see anything. The hide
soaks it up.
Yeah, the hide is fucking thick here.
Hey, so this is interesting. This is a good point in time to bring it up because I have a story with a couple shots too. So you started to mention yesterday on the rock slide thread how people were talking about wounding animals.
Mm-hmm.
So what do you think about that those couple shots and then running 100 yards and dying? Because several of our animals so far have either taken, most of them were one shot and run 100 yards and die. But what do you think about the whole idea of wounding an animal?
What do you mean? What we're shooting, or what?
Yeah, I mean, what these people are getting on the thread and talking about wounding animals, right?
We are, if I correct, 13. We're at 15 animals, and Neil, this is his job. How many animals have we lost that we've shot or touched with a bullet?
No, none.
Okay.
Yeah.
So we are basically 15 and 0.
That was
and at least half of those are single shots.
Yes.
Single shot.
Oh, no, I would say
more than half.
15, I would say 11. Yesterday was 11.
Yep.
11 were single shot.
Single shot and died within 100 yards.
Well,
yes.
Just like Douglas's main job, the only reason why he is here is to find animals. And that was the very first time we even needed him.
Yeah.
And it wasn't because it went a long ways. It's the grass is tall. We could walk around for a long time.
Mm-hmm.
They don't bleed. And I don't know, you could tell me better. If somebody's shooting an AccuBond or a bonded bullet, would they exit? Do they usually exit?
I guess the real question is, do you often have a blood trail to follow?
Yes.
So yes, sometimes we do. Especially if it gets longer to the 200, 300, 400s, at some point we start finding a blood trail.
Okay.
Yes. At some point, either out of the bullet hole or the nose, you start finding blood. But if it's
not at the impact site that you start to follow from there, it's always later on.
Very seldom.
Very seldom.
Very seldomly. If you don't blow out the other side, there's nothing that really has blood to bleed.
And there's something about these animals so far, they literally just soak the bullets up. Yeah. There's no exit wounds.
But if you look at the brush they live in, the skin needs to be very tough and very elastic as well. It's actually the elasticity of it with the toughness. It's not it doesn't tear very easily. It's a very elastic skin. That's why it catches the bullets on the other side. That's why we find so many bullets. I mean, the eland bullet was protruding in a bulge about 4 inches outside of. You could see it. It looked like a tumor growing on the side of it, and that was just a bullet with tissue. But the skin probably absorbed it from the elasticity.
Like a trampoline.
It's because every other fucking bush is a thorn that's trying to kill you.
Yes.
It's really that serious,
Did you guys have any broadside shots on the Impala? Because one of mine exited, Tanya exited, Blaine's exited on the butt shot.
Hers was a frontal fucking bang flop.
I only had
Luke's was steep shots.
Well, Luke's was I don't think we should use his in the.
That's an example.
Luke just said, "I'm shooting."
Luke.
Luke's like, I'm getting one ammo, but I'm getting all my shots.
I'm gonna use some ammo.
Yeah.
And then I didn't get an Impala. So you guys got 2.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, I didn't get an Impala. You guys got 2. What about yours?
2 exits. I shot mine twice. 2 exits. 1 exit on mine. The other one didn't exit, and Tanya's exited.
So we had the blessbuck story. So the blessbuck, it didn't have an exit. No, it went right through the base of the neck. Yeah, it was in and out. And it was a big exit wound. That's right.
But that impact velocity probably was low enough for the bullet to keep together.
So it did. When you said hold the crease, it had drifted a bit.
It did.
Yes, it was actually a 0.5 win at the end being So the end of the bracket being 0.8 would have missed
in front
of the blessbuck.
It was a good call.
But I knew it was going to be, just put it there. If it's a 0.2, 0.4, 0.6, we are in business. So,
nice.
Yeah. Yep. But we had time. I took a wind reading quickly. So it wasn't a guesstimate.
Before Jake jumps into the animal he took today, what's your thought on the 6UM so far?
I am, like I told him this morning, the whole 6UM ordeal was kind of my, 6 or 7 stages of grief. Like in the very beginning, it was a lot of denial.
In the beginning, you were like, fucking no.
I was like, hell's no.
In the very beginning conversation.
No. I wasn't hell no. I was
Ryan is fucking persistent.
I was like, in the very beginning, I was like, what else are you bringing?
What's the backup weapon?
What's your backup plan for this?
And so when I told you I was bringing the 6.57 and a 33 XC, then you were like, oh, okay, it's going to be okay.
I was like, we'll give one to Ryan.
That's funny
But then I went through the whole metamorphosis. Now I'm in a acceptance phase. So I am pleasantly surprised on the 6UM, especially on the giraffe and waterbuck. Waterbuck are very tough. And obviously giraffe is, they call them pachyderms. So because of their toughness.
So you were there for the draft. Have we done the draft on the?
We did, but we wanted a little bit of scrutiny on the thread on Rockslide. Like I said, this is your job. So, me and Jake, not that we ever have lied to the people, but they're like, we want, they know I'm very biased with the 6UM.
Yes.
How many shots and how long was the draft on his feet?
Oh, I started seeing it like stumble after the first 20 steps. And that's usually a good sign. It's like once the backside starts dropping a little bit, you can kind of know like shit's about to go down.
Yeah.
So, and in less than 2 minutes, it fell down.
Well, Ryan did hit it literally in the exact fucking point of impact you said.
That
too,
is
so
definitely
that was the start.
something we should mention.
Yep.
I think his capabilities is maybe a little bit, and this is me complimenting you. So
no.
So take out your phone and record this because this is not happening again. All the shots have been with Ryan. Like I couldn't have painted a dot better for him to shoot. I mean, he shot that thing right at the top of the heart. And this waterbuck is exactly on the money. So that's maybe where so the complimenting just stopped now.
Okay.
So that's where the 6UM maybe lacks a little bit. It's not going to give you a hell of a lot if you shoot, let's say, in the stomach or in the way behind the shoulder. And where something like your bullet that's going to break up a little bit more is going to give you a little bit more leeway. Left and right.
Well, I think we do keep talking 6UM, but I really think that's it's not the whole story because it's not the 6UM that's doing it.
It's a little bullet.
We're just simply talking about a 115 DTAC at a certain velocity. So everybody's stuck on the 6UM, but we have not proven it with any other bullet.
Yes,
to this level.
The reason I got into the 115 is my uncle, who's a fucking terrible shot. Sorry, Randy, he just is. He shot 17 times at this elk. Well, the first 12 were at the 300 PRC.
Yeah.
And he shot it in the guts. And it went from, I don't remember how far when we started, like 5 something. And me and Forum walked back to the truck to get his 6XC and came back. And at that point, the cow elk had moved to 970 yards. And he shot basically a 6 Creedmoor with that 115 DTAC, 970 through the shoulders. And when we opened it up, I mean, it looked like a fucking 300 Win Mag went through it.
Yeah.
Because it did tumble.
Yeah.
So I was like, so if we push that bullet a little faster, it's even going to be better.
Yeah, exactly. I remember, go ahead.
Going back to the blood trails,
Yes.
we could see Blaine's buffalo the whole time, going to war with it. But when it fell down, we went back, do a reverse blood trail. And that he bled quite well.
Yeah.
It would have been an easy blood trail.
Well, I imagine.
before.
So this is a whole different. It's a whole different conversation as far as the 416 bullet, solid bullet.
Dude,
that's what it's meant to do.
Yes.
Yeah.
So, but I mean, we have seen a little bit of blood.
I think though the point I think it's important for the people that are listening to understand when we talk about 1-shot or 2-shot or running 100 yards or the back and forth about wounding animals is the fact that you're basically telling us that any blood trail on any animal here in Africa, besides the Cape Buffalo dangerous game stuff, doesn't rarely leave any blood from the point of impact. It takes a few hundred yards for it to start to have the lung effect or the blood
Coming
comes out of the nose.
Yeah.
That's a later effect. So almost every one of these animals just soaks the fucking bullet up.
Yeah, and the little bit, the 100 or so yards that they make is kind of the oxygen that's already in the system.
Yeah.
Because the moment you poke a hole in its lungs, that pneumothorax kind of happens, and the lungs collapse, and they have that ability to go for that 10 seconds.
Yeah.
But if the heart's working, everything, that's when you start seeing a lot of the blood still coming out. So
What's funny is we walked up to the water bucket. There wasn't a lot of blood, but the more we moved them, the more blood was showing up. So you're talking, you get past that 100, 150 yards, they are going to start breathing blood out of their nose.
But luckily we have a good running track in that first couple of years. So you can see that track in this, especially in the dry dirt.
Yeah.
You can see that track.
So then I was thinking to myself earlier when you talked about you started to put on the thread about the giraffe and the story behind it, and you just wrote a story. I thought it would have been better because we have a continuous video stream from the moment the single shot is taken to the moment the giraffe goes down. And maybe instead of having to prove to people that your story was correct, I mean, you literally could have just put the video up and just let it speak for itself.
I know
what I'm saying, but you know what I mean? Like for the people,
Yeah.
you wouldn't, everybody wants a proof of this or a proof of that. And the simple video stream, other than seeing the rifle and the cartridge that was being shot, you can see the single shot exactly where he told you to. You can hear all of us or you guys behind it and so on. And
if you've listened to me through the whole Avery Adventure podcast into the Shoot to Hunt podcast, I have changed my mind on things that I thought were good. And I said, no, these actually suck. And I was wrong. So if if I did think the 6UM sucked, I would tell the people, I think it sucks for this reason.
Yeah.
So it's kind of dumb, in my opinion, but people are people and they want to argue.
But again, I think it is important to always state like the 115 DTAC thing. It's not just this, because you can shoot it out of a 6 Creedmoor with a 30-inch barrel if you wanted to.
Dude, that I think Form's exit velocity is like 2,900 with
a 6 Creed.
970 yards. It blew the shoulders out of both sides of that cow.
No, that was a 6XC.
6XC, yeah.
Yeah, which is even less.
Yep.
Less horsepower.
20-inch barrel, I believe.
Yeah. And apparently those bullets aren't going to be made much longer.
I don't want to say that because I only have 5,000, but
I think 5,000 is probably enough for
you. Probably get me through a day or two.
Through a barrel or two.
Yeah. It's a lot of 6UM barrels. All right, so back onto you, Jacoby.
So is that all? Is that all the stories up until now?
Yep.
So
only your special story.
Okay.
Yep.
So I've been wanting to shoot the oryx / gemsbuck, and we've been looking, and a couple people have seen it. It's kind of ghosty, I would say.
Tanya almost shot it yesterday.
Yeah, exactly.
Oh, yeah.
Exactly. So yesterday was funny because she wanted the kudu. We saw her kudu.
Yeah.
I could have shot him at 20 yards, and then they saw the oryx that they could have shot, on the road. And anyways, I don't know what it was about. There's a female oryx skull here in the lodge, a Euro mount, and it's these fucking 40-inch long, just tall, skinny antlers, and I didn't even get to see what the whole body actually looked like. I did look at some pictures, but it's a beautiful animal, and I was kind of stuck on it a little bit. I get like that with things, and the 2 sightings were up where the giraffe died, which is basically across the pasture up on a plateau.
Mm-hmm.
And then it was sighted on the road, which was near the same area on the side of the pasture.
Yes.
So I just thought to myself that there's an area up there that is roadless as far as, because when we went to the giraffe, basically they were saying we don't want them to go much further that way because there is no road that gets in there. Mm-hmm. So in the morning we checked out the pasture, and there's how big do you think that pasture is? 5 acres? 10 acres?
The total pasture?
Yeah.
It's 150 acres.
Oh shit, I was close.
Yeah. It's 70 hectares.
Okay. So 150 acres, and it's where we go look for warthogs when it's hot. They kind of sit out there in the grass, and there's a herd of kudu in there. They kind of stay in the area. Before we saw 2 zebra on this hillside, and what else? There was a giraffe up at the top just yesterday looking.
And mostly just kudu.
So then this morning, we went with Neville, and we're just staring at the hillside. Neville's like, I think if there was something here, we would have saw it already. So we decided to basically take off and walk across the pasture. We just grabbed all our shit, walked across the pasture. We hung our right, went all the way to the edge of your property, went up the hill, which the hill is kind of multiple levels of plateaus as you move up, and it's very deceiving when you're glassing that hillside. There's a lot of areas they could be sitting in.
It's a lot deeper in those little plateaus.
Oh,
than you
yeah.
think.
And there's plenty of places to hide. So back then, I think Neville started to get excited too. He was like, there's a panther back here. Was it a panther?
No, a leopard.
A leopard.
He said, I think there's a leopard that lives here. So.
Well, basically, we got to the spot.
Maybe we'll get excited.
Him and I were excited because we felt like we were in an area that people weren't hunting.
Yes.
Which is good. Like in our experience, getting away from roads and getting away from people is where some animals like to hide. So we got there, and he's like, I bet you we're gonna see something cool. And then it wasn't 5 minutes later, he just fucking hung up real quick, and he looks and there's the oryx standing there. Gemsbuck and oryx are the same thing. And I couldn't see shit. There was spidery bushes and tall grass, and it has these V-shaped tall single horns. And I don't know how he saw that shit, dude, but that's what you guys are good at. You just look through the bush and see whatever. And it was a big gray body, but the body, you couldn't see the body. All you could see was a little bit of the head and those 2 antlers. So he finally got me on it, and that motherfucker did not move for 15 minutes. And I was so scared to come out of the rifle scope because it was so hard for me to find it the first time. I just stood there, and he stood behind me with the binocular. We did not move, waiting for him to move. So I kept saying, I could shoot him in the head. It was only 100 yards, and the head was good size, right? Like I'm thinking I'm shooting at a basketball from 100 yards. I could headshot him. And he just, just wait, just be patient. I'm a very patient guy, my wife will tell you. And,
yes.
So after telling him I'm going to shoot him in the head about 20 times, he finally steps out, and he's quartering away to the right. And I said, all right, dude, we're going to go. So I shot him at the back of the rib cage. If you're looking for the side, you think it's a gut shot, but basically back of the rib cage,
Going forward.
And he didn't go down immediately, and he's stumbling a little bit, and he starts to turn straight away. So I'm at that point, I'm just going to start shooting, and he's straight away. And
anyways, I started blasting.
So anyways, I
started blasting.
Like I did. Yeah, it's back to the thing. You know, once the first shot is in him, it was a good shot. I mean, it was, but you don't want him to run 100 yards or whatever. So anyways, round number 2, I rack it, and I missed him. It was I just had his ass in front of me, and I missed his ass. I don't know. I did something moving around.
That was your patience.
That was my patience part, yeah. And I was kind of like, to be honest with you, I was fucking fatigued at that point. I had sweat dripping down my face from sitting in that damn scope for 15 minutes staring at him. Like, I was kind of fucked up. So then he quarters away to the left slightly. I send to the third round out of the mag, and it hits him right in the same spot on the rib cage. It was a good shot.
On the other side.
Yeah, on the other side. And at this point, I only had 3 rounds on my mag. So now, I used to never carry extra rounds like on me, but because of form, I had a mag loaded, and I'm sure he's going to listen to this. I had a fucking mag loaded in my Beano pack. Ready to fucking go. So I'm pulling the little, that's one thing I don't like about that Beano pack, is those little bungee cords. So I'm trying to get the bungee cord out, and the fucking mag was point tip up. So when I went to pull it out, the tip was hanging up on the inside, and I couldn't get it out so then I had to push down and push the round in and get it out, drop the mag, load the round, rack 1. And at that time, he was watching the whole time. At that time, he was broadside. So then I hit him exactly where you should hit him, and then he dropped on the broadside shot. And
no roads,
huh?
No roads up there.
There are no fucking roads. That's a tough fucking. At first, it's a beautiful animal. Like we walk up, and it's a whole different looking. They're all beautiful in their own way, but this one is like white and black, like chevron look on the face.
Yeah, like a painted face.
Yeah, with the gray body, and it has this like horse whiptail looking thing. And of course, we talked about the feet are different because it's meant to be in the desert. And so then we get up to the animal, and we're in the place where there is no roads because that's where we thought it was going to be. And of course, it was.
We were in a thorn bush.
When we were loading up the water buck, Peter was talking to. I always forget your dad's name. Sorry,
Tian.
And Tian's like, he does angry talk a lot, but I understand the word fuck now in African. And I said, what's going on? And he's like, well, I was telling my dad where the gemsbuck is, and he said, dumb fucks.
It was funny. Yeah. Then they were all talking. Of course, it was kind of it's not a shit show, but it was extra work.
Yeah.
Yes.
He gets there and he tells Jake, you know what you're supposed to do? Shoot the leg. So he starts limping.
Yeah. He's like,
he goes downhill.
He's like, injure him. So he runs downhill to the truck and then kill him. That's not really how we do
things. And he
things.
said, I'm not joking.
Yeah. Yeah. Oh, and I should have said too. So for those 3 shots that he took, no exits. It soaked everything up. Anyways. So we waited around for a while because you guys were busy with the water buck, and then come back up. We ended up cutting it in half, and then carrying it down to the truck.
A lot of hands make light work of it.
Yeah. So you guys are very used to like driving the truck up to the animal. We got winches and pulling stuff in, where we're used to cutting stuff up anyway.
Yeah.
And kind of carrying stuff out. And
I have a rule: if I have to carry it more than a mile, there's no bones.
Mm-hmm.
We bone it out. Yep.
Yeah, but I guess because I've probably been thinking about the oryx for the last few days, because I shot my stuff I haven't really shot anything since almost day one, day 2.
You shot both on the same day?
Both on day, yeah. So I haven't shot anything.
No. You shot like day 0.
Water buck.
Day 0 was water buck.
Yep.
Yeah, and then day 1
full
was
day 0.
Yeah.
Yeah, it wasn't like the full day.
But anyways, I haven't shot anything for a few days, and I know that sounds kind of dickish.
You shot it. Hey, you didn't talk about what you shot last night.
I'll bring that up too.
Yeah.
So it sounds kind of dickish, but with all the death happening, I haven't been.
I think with this one is that you saw that animal, you wanted it. All the other 2, you kind of just, it was there.
It's kind of keeping an open mind.
Presented it to you, as they would say.
Keeping an open mind. I'll take what's good, and you shot 2 good animals.
Oh, badass animals for sure. But that was the one that was in my brain.
So you could not get rid of it.
And then so I was thinking about it last night. I probably dreamt about it. I was thinking about it this morning, and I thought Peter was going to go with us. So I kept telling Peter, I said, Peter, we're going to go hunt that motherfucker down tomorrow.
Yeah.
Like I was trying to get him fired up about it, and then Neville was fantastic, of course, but it was just
even when we started, you told Neville, you're like, I'm used to hiking. Let's just go up that.
Yeah, because we were just staring at the mountain. I'm like, dude, fucking, let's go. And
yeah, very patient.
Yeah, very patient.
Very patient.
Yeah.
Let's fucking go.
So and that was about it was 4 hours. So we started at 7 and we got done back here at 11, basically. So it was like a 4-hour situation, but the whole stock and the hunt and the difficulty, and they don't fucking die easily. They don't just walk up and say, shoot me kind of thing.
And they're hard to find. They're incredibly
that
hard
one
to find.
just blended in and yeah.
Every animal.
So that was the best hunt for me.
Yeah.
So far. And
Blaine mentioned something today. He says it seems like finding animals in general is a lot easier over here than in the States.
Mm.
But getting a lane, shooting something, and killing it seems to be a little bit more difficult.
Mm-hmm.
I did not, like I said, when we think about Africa, we always said gazelle instead of impala. When I was thinking about them the other day, that's what we grew up watching is the Serengeti, a big open prairie, plain, whatever you guys call them. You get here and this is fucking Texas.
Yeah.
It's everything wants to fucking grab you when you walk by you. Everything's fucking thick. Everything looks brown. It's just hard to see shit.
No.
Blends in.
So you should, if you're going to come out here, you definitely need to be ready and willing to walk and definitely practice shooting off tripods above the brush.
Yeah.
And just, I would have preferred, we should have watched more videos of the animals and the way they look, because I think, it's like elk. When you first go out elk hunting, like the first day, it's like you want to see an elk just so you can acclimate your eyeball to pick them out afterwards, right? Like, cause you're not used to seeing them right away. And
yeah, we were on a dead walk with Neil yesterday and he fucking stops and there's fucking kudu. And I could not find them with my naked. With my binoculars, I had to fucking question myself for 20 seconds if that was a fucking kudu or not.
Yep.
And it turned its head, and I was like, this guy caught it on a dead walk.
Yep.
Yeah, it's definitely something we're not used to looking for.
Yep. Definitely. And the same thing happens with elk, right? Like you want to see it. I mean, you can be an elk hunter every year, but then elk season comes back around and you want to be able to see one on the side of the hill so you know what you're looking for. Just the color, all that kind of shit. We could pause.
Neil?
So, me and Edwin quickly went for a galnet.
Okay.
And you haven't shot a poly yet.
Okay.
Please come take it out of misery.
Keep it all set up, good. Finish.
Do we turn it off?
I'll get it.
You jump off this one.
Next to that tree?
See this tree that's up like this? There's a tree.
Yeah. Okay.
Smoking.
Oh, I don't fucking see him.
Right next to the tree.
Lower your power. I'm all the way up.
That tree is about 150 yards out. This is the tree that's making that fall.
Oh, okay.
Yeah. You can hit him on the shoulder.
Okay.
I see he's halfway behind the tree, so just hit him on the shoulder, that's fine.
How far is that?
That is 150.
You're back. Hit him again. Hit him again.
What is the problem?
Just hit him again.
Get him?
No, man. Where are you going? Are you serious?
Yeah.
Oh, you motherfucker! so into it. You motherfuckers. Do they all know?
No, only Luke knows.
Only Luke knows. The fucking fake. Where are you aiming, man? I'm like, dude, he's not that far. We'll go look at him and see where I hit him. That was good. That was good. That was good. That was good. Oh, man.
I'm so sad for the injured impala. So what is it that you shot at?
There's a look through the scope. They're next to the tree. Look out there. See the green top tree?
Okay.
With the very green top. Follow it down to the left, and you see something with his head this way.
I was like, oh my God.
Do you see it?
On there?
Did we injure something?
Can you see it?
Well done.
Like, damn, I thought it was a better shot than that.
150 yards.
Is that why you took my beatos? So I couldn't look?
Yeah. You got it?
Oh, shoot.
You got the.
We can go walk up to him, guys.
You got a tree in the back.
Yeah.
Right underneath in the shade.
Yeah.
On the left
Oh,
hand.
yes.
I'm sorry.
I'm like, dude, I know I'm not that bad of a shot.
That is so funny, you guys.
I mean,
I
you
was
shoot
like,
it
man,
and you're
Neil
standing
is
and completely
serious. Like, Neil just stopped
Standing
everything.
Oh, he's standing right where he was before. Oh, okay.
Okay.
I was like, oh my gosh, just 3 shots again.
Oh, shit.
Did you know that?
Yeah, he fucking knew.
I was like, oh my gosh, this impala was like miserable for days.
Nou, die eerste squid zei
Okay, that was a good one.
I was wondering what Neil was filming.
That was now the best hunt of the trip.
So he's still there. He's still
boy.
there.
But now we have opportunity. What are we going to tell Ryan?
Oh, we'll have
Gotta
to get
come up
him.
with a story for
Gotta
Ryan.
get him too.
I wonder why'd you guys decide Jake and not Ryan?
I don't know. Ryan also shot an impala. Yeah. It was not really a backstory.
Yeah.
Like, how did I see?
Jake was the perfect one for that.
Yeah.
He gets into it really quickly and makes impulse.
Oh, dude.
We knew you were
Dude, I was in it. Injured Impala, I'm your guy. Let's go.
At least like 120 yards.
Yeah.
I had to give you 150. I was just start shooting at it, please.
It should have been. You can make it like a piece of steel.
Jake,
Huh?
now you officially shot a unicorn as well.
There you go.
And pull my butt.
Damn, that motherfucker ain't even moving.
Just eating those.
Yeah, you need to force the speed.
Oh my goodness.
Do you do this often?
Sometimes when the group's into it. When it's good people, then it's easy to do.
Well, hopefully
For the body.
Let's check out shot placement.
Where were you supposed to aim at?
I don't know.
Anywhere.
Anywhere on it.
He was in a tree?
Well, it seems like you missed.
Fuck, that's a lot of misses.
It's just a hole right here.
Damn.
Oh, right, yeah.
You
Come
center
look
punched
here,
it.
on the shoulder.
Center punched it.
Yeah, he should have been dead.
Oh yeah.
Center punched it.
Oh, here's another one on the neck. He's been dead a long time ago. 2 out of 3.
Unicorn.
Someone ripped the other one off, huh?
Well, 2 and 3 really didn't count because.
All right.
We need to get some trophy
We
pictures.
call that
of this.
getting punked.
Let's go.
You just got punked.
Let's go back and finish the podcast.
Yeah. Hey, that made it even better too, right in the middle of the podcast.
It was all planned. It was all
like,
planned.
oh
Peter
my
needs to
gosh,
come and look
Bill
very
just,
serious,
like,
and
instantly
we're gonna
knew
stop
serious.
everything. And
Oh shit!
Well done.
Gotta have a little bit of levity.
Oh, you changed your shoes? Look at that.
So if you don't know what happened at this point, so we just left the podcast.
So we left the podcast under very false pretenses.
Yeah.
So they said that there was an injured impala. Peter came in mid-podcast, says there's an injured impala, Jake. Do you want to go shoot it? You have not shot one yet.
No.
So it's actually
It was a perfect
perfect.
sell.
It was the
Fucking
perfect sell.
sell.
Peter's a good salesman.
So they have the whole story. Oh, we're gonna jump off while the truck is still moving, and then the truck is gonna keep going and all that. He put the fucking sneak on and all, light it up right behind him, getting into position. And
How far was the sneak?
Like 20 meters?
Yeah, like 20, 30 yards or whatever. But, he's getting low and he's doing the creep and I'm right behind him trying to keep the line at what he's looking at, so we're like one person. He asked me to borrow my binos beforehand, so I basically couldn't look because, you would have seen maybe something. I don't know, but I didn't get to look at my binos. He just said it's right there and you can see the little silhouette coming out.
Yeah, in the shade.
Oh, man. So I lined up and I put 3 shots on that bitch.
So I went over to look at the fucking damage on the water buck, and I'm like, I was like, Jake's over there luking it up.
Hey, the first shot was perfect.
On the shoulder.
That should have been done.
Done.
It was done.
Yeah.
The second 2 was emotional because it literally didn't move. I'm like, what is going on here?
And then one of you said, what are you even fucking aiming at?
It started to get a little funny. And then I was literally getting the next bag out.
Yeah, checking if he's a rev off. He's like,
oh, man.
And Luke, you got it on video? Oh.
Yeah, that's all on video.
Epic.
Yep.
That was a lot of fun. Thank you very much.
Yes.
Yes, it was very entertaining.
Let me fix this real quick. Let me hear you.
Everybody played it off well.
Yep. Well,
Blaine was fooled. I was fooled. Jessica was fooled.
Only Luke knew about it.
Yeah.
Well, when somebody asked Blaine, "Are you going? You should really go." I was like, Yeah.
I guess I said. I guess I'm naive.
You would have been too short to see the Impala.
Yeah, probably.
Oh, yeah.
Well,
he does have you there.
A good PH would have brought me a stool.
We talked about folding steps for short people.
I bought a mule. I'm gonna need a fucking stool for it to get on.
Do you have a mule?
2.
And llamas or goats?
So the Wild Sheep Foundation is kind of targeted goats to get them off the landscape for Movi because they're the lowest hanging fruit. So they've emergency stopped them in a national forest where I hunt.
Okay.
So I kind of had to get out of them because
goats.
Yep, because the Sheep Foundation kind of sucks.
But they are good for packing.
Yeah. Most of the time, unless we get sick, like when we took them in, something was wrong with them, or we overworked them, or something happened, and they were quitting on Jake. I was still hunting, and Jake was packing out his son's elk.
They would literally just stop
and
refuse to move forward.
And this is it.
There was one point Mason got really upset because I think it was Doc. I think Doc kind of laid down a little bit, and then he slid down this hill a little bit, and Mason was trying to get him back up and he couldn't get him up, and he was younger then, and man, I was back behind with the rest of them, and by the time I got up there, man, he was crying, bawling. So we finally got him all the way out, and we actually ended up, we didn't have any gear to sleep with at the trailhead, and Ryan was not on the inReach. This is not a funny story, but I couldn't get Ryan on the inReach. I'm like, we don't have nothing to sleep at the trailhead with. I said, we're going to have to tie the goats up and go into town and sleep at a hotel and then come back in the morning and bring the goats back in. So I didn't sleep a fucking wink the whole night. I was so worried about the goats because I didn't know I didn't know what Ryan was going to say. There was no other solution, to the problem. The goats were not walking back in.
It's a fucking goat.
Like, is it any special goat? Do they go to goat school or something?
No, they're just alpines. They're
just a breed of goat, big, tall, with horns coming kind of straight
they
back.
They look
like
kind of
this.
like a sable almost.
A small sable, yeah.
Yeah.
Small sable.
Yeah, they're alpines. They're like French goats, but they're big. They're 200 plus pound goats.
Okay.
Now that's a big goat.
Yeah, that is a big ass goat.
They can haul about 50 pounds each.
And basically one of them is kind of like a leader. So if you have the leader with you, the rest of them kind of follow the leader.
Okay.
Yeah, one's like the alpha, and you really don't even have to. We had one that's kind of an asshole, but they're like a dog, they'll just follow you.
Yeah, and they could hold about a good one was like 50 pounds.
Yeah,
so you have
good in shape one will hold 50 pounds.
Yeah, so they have like a pannier, like a saddle with a cross on each side. So you'd pick the bags up and put them across on each side. You have to balance them out really good, so they had a stable load when they were walking. But yeah, you can get 5 goats carried the whole elk out. We even had it was a small bull, so we even had the rack on one of them.
Yes,
you carried nothing.
Carried nothing all the way out.
Which
was the problem we planned on, and it was about 6 miles. We planned on literally turning right back around, but then the goats literally refused.
They're like, fuck this.
And that was our first real trip with the goats, I think. Maybe the second.
We must get some goats.
Yeah, we should get some goats.
But like in that situation where you guys were just in, they would have packed everything. You'd have to bone everything out, put it in bags. But
we have something better than goats.
You have
Trucks?
a truck.
Poverty.
Poverty?
Yeah.
And this looks like poverty goats.
Oh, hell yeah. No, we're the land of opportunity. Like, we just have people carry the stuff out.
Yeah, we don't have that.
We create jobs.
I mean, every day we get more people like that crossing the border. Maybe we'll have some of that soon.
Yeah.
So what happened last night?
Okay, last night we were out looking for warthogs on the other side of the main road there with Peter, and we zigzagged back and forth and looked fucking hard. I don't know if it was the temperature or what it was, but there wasn't no warthogs out. So it was getting pretty dark, and Peter brought a predator call.
Fox, bro.
Yeah, and you call them, basically for us it's a coyote, but here it's a
jackal.
A jackal.
Blackback jackal.
Yeah, so he had the first call was like a jackal call, and then so he played that for maybe 5 seconds and then turned it off, and you heard everything around us just went off. So all the jackals in the area started sounding off, and then put on a distress call, which sounded fucking horrible. And all of a sudden, jackals started running in from here and there, and we had a good time shooting at jackals.
So I've got a quick story to tell.
Go for it.
Just when we started that call, is everyone was still doubting the system like badly. Everyone was sitting on the back of the truck, and with all the dust going into the suspension of this truck, when Massive Jake moves on that vehicle, the whole thing goes. It sounds terrible. And the first jackal came out at like 40 yards.
Yep.
And it was right at the back. So he had Jessica sitting in his way and Blaine also in his way. So they had to move out of the way. He just turned around. And by the time he was in the back, the jackal was like, fuck you guys. I'm gone a long way ago.
Were you nice to everyone behind you when you had to get them out of the way?
Yeah, well, I was nervous about I don't remember exactly what happened then, but I was probably just pushing people out of the way.
Would you guys please move in an orderly fashion as quick as possible?
Get the fuck out of the way.
But he really looked like one of those guys. You know when you're sitting in a small boat?
Yeah.
And the boat's not very stable, and you try and stand up in the boat, the whole vehicle looked like that. It was just rocking back and forward.
When you guys drove by me a minute ago to get that Impala, it looked like that in that fucking truck.
Yeah, it was all
It was popping wheelies.
Yeah, but that's because Neil and
Neil
Jake
and
sat on
me were on the same side, so it was fucking leading this way.
No.
Anyway, getting back to the jackal, we ended up calling in 4 jackal in a matter of 15 minutes.
That's awesome.
Yeah, it was quick.
And
first one was cagey. He was kind of zigzagging back and forth. I took a couple shots, but that didn't pan out.
Full Indian mode on that thing.
Yeah.
How often do you call them? Like, do you get a chance?
So I did it quite often. When I used to live here, I did it maybe once a week.
Pretty much always successful?
Pretty much. There's occasionally you don't get when the wind is terrible or something like that's terrible, and you tend to start shooting through them so that you eat into the population. So they have to come from further away. So they will come from the neighboring farms, but it takes so much longer. So there's a lot of jackal. The population in the last 4 years exploded. And I think we're going to do this again tonight. We'll have another.
You ever call in the cats?
They're difficult. Takes a while. I shot 1 or 2 caracal on the caller, but they're very skittish and they're clever. So they tend to come in to about 150 yards and then they'll just sit and they'll watch.
At that little fucking intersection, if we were to do it right, it is almost like you'd have one person down each lane.
Yeah, you can do that.
Right, kind of watching it, because we were kind of all walking around the truck and looking this way or looking this way. And not that when they were coming in for a few hundred yards, it wasn't like they cared. But
no, they don't give a shit.
Yeah.
So you'll get a big one that's quite clever and they'll be like, this is sus. Cheers. Mm-hmm. I'm out of here. But the young ones, like the one you shot was quite a young one.
Yeah.
They will, if you sit still, he'll come straight up to the caller and he'll look at it.
Unfortunately, he was sitting down, looking a bit to my left, and where he got hit, it basically just blew a quarter of the fucking, blew about a quarter of him off.
Yeah, we call them at night, usually not in the late afternoons. So one night we went out to go call some jackal, put the call out, me and Peter. We got to chatting and we kind of forgot about the caller. And then we just switched the light on. As we came across to where the call is, there was a fucking jackal standing on top of the cooler like this.
Oh, shit.
Down at it. It was like, what is this?
So that should have been an easy shot.
Oh, yeah. And in some areas the population can explode because they have very little natural predators. So there's a guy in South Africa called Gino from G&G Varminting. He's in the NRL, and he shoots them. That's his business, G&G Varminting. He only shoots. You pay him per jackal. He comes in with thermals, calls them, shoots them. The most he shot in one night, so just from dark till sunrise, 145 jackal.
Oh,
holy shit! How much do you get a jackal?
I don't know how much he gets per jackal, but he shoots quite a lot, and you can verify this. I mean, G&G Varminting, and he shoots. That's his business, and 145 jackal.
Jiminy Christmas!
Yeah,
well, it's a good way to practice for NRL hunter too.
Yeah, well, shooting thermals at night, and they shoot very small cartridges very fast. So, because there's no ranging at night.
Mm-hmm.
Interesting.
Yeah.
Left on the docket. Blaine, you're back in the game.
Blaine's done.
Blessbuck.
Yeah, we're going to try and get Blaine and a blessbuck this afternoon and tomorrow. We're going to do a bit of adventures with elephants tomorrow as well, in the middle of the day. It seems like everybody's nodding their head, so I'm assuming everybody's going. So it's a very cool experience. These elephants, in the 70s or 80s, somewhere there, they did a lot of elephant population control in the neighboring countries. And what they found out is they had to take out a whole herd of them, and they were left with a few orphans. And the owner of this property, he got 2 orphan elephants, and he raised them. And the whole idea is an elephant can smell a lot better than any dog. Like 15 times better than a tracking dog. So they wanted to use these elephants for anti-poaching, to patrol fence lines and track people. But then Zimbabwe kind of went through what Zimbabwe went through, so they relocated the elephant to South Africa, and now they are used for educational purposes. The universities use them for study for human-elephant conflict situations, and we get to do an encounter with them. So it's not a zoo; it's an open farm. They've got handlers that they bring you to their handlers, and you do an interaction with the elephants. And it's very authentic. It's very nice. It's very educational. So that's what we'll be doing tomorrow.
Nice
midday. The rest of the time we'll be finding a big kudu. We did find a kudu yesterday.
Yeah,
but for Mr. Avery wasn't big enough. So
I know my wife. She'd be like,
was it the one on the pasture over here? The double turn?
No, it was the ones you guys saw with the zebra up on the hill.
Yep.
Oh.
We kind of ambushed them as they were coming out of the hill.
Okay.
And there was one bull, but he's not a very big bull.
Yeah.
So.
Neil had to take a piss. He bumped into him.
Yeah. I think the biggest mistake we made, we shot a big bull with Jessica.
So Jessica got a monster.
That kind of is the benchmark, so...
Sorry about that.
And there is one over there that's about the same size.
Yep.
Because we literally saw him last night, right up close and personal.
Yep. Sorry about that again.
So is there maybe there's a way that is there a way like we can all kind of work together or help or maybe locate them or
it's a matter of rinse and repeat.
Okay.
We know the area that the animals are in. We know that there is a bull of that quality.
Yeah.
So I think we should just keep on hammering, and sooner or later, like the gemsbuck,
like Cameron Haynes.
Oh yeah,
keep hammering.
When we shot Jess's, there must have been 6 or 8 bulls together, but then when we saw them last night, there were only 2.
They do break up alone, 5 or 6, 7 or 8, 1 or 2. So I just think we should keep at it. There's enough time. There's this afternoon, 2 sessions tomorrow, 1 session on Tuesday. So
we'll catch them. 4
full sessions left for us to shoot one animal. So
there's a question from the crowd.
And
it was to Peter. What was your favorite hunt so far? Probably my water buck, huh?
You had me worried about that water buck.
Yeah, I went and looked at it. I missed it the second. The first one's only hit it. Because the only straight one went through and through.
Through and through. Okay.
Only takes one shot.
Only takes one shot.
Well, the second one, he was on the ground flipping around.
But that's a tough animal. But anyway, my favorite animal, obviously the kudu. It's such a prestigious animal, and we had a bunch of luck that day, like a bunch of luck. We shot a massive Inyala bull, and 45 minutes later we shot Jessica's kudu. And the plan just worked out perfect. The wind was blowing quite hard into our faces, and we we had this opportunity where all bulls came out of one area over sort of open area where they had to move into another thick stuff, and we caught them in between. And we had good cover. We didn't have that much patience. That I figured out. Jake doesn't have patience.
Well, you should be used to that. You grew up with a man without patience.
Yeah, my dad's got them. But that's why my dad doesn't hunt. Maybe that's why. But I mean, we had to wait for them. They went into. I mean, they don't have to go into real thick stuff to vanish. They don't get called the grey ghost for no reason. And they all 8 bulls just vanished, and we were waiting for them. And about 15 minutes later, I decided, let's go try and get an angle on them. Just move. Because we're also getting late. It was just before 11.
Yeah.
So we're starting to get hot. I thought they might just stay in the shade. And we, literally moved 15 meters, and I had to drop down to the ground.
Around that, yeah.
And there was the bull that I initially wanted to shoot with Jessica. The bull was there, and he was looking straight at us, so we had to bed down and started walking again. As we came up with the sticks, he was already behind new brush. And luckily we saw the other ones partially through, and we just waited. And the second shootable bull came out, standing right next to another one. And they just kept on walking. He never gave a shot. And I tried to stop him, but the wind was blowing so much that he couldn't hear us. So we tried to follow up, and another bull actually spotted us. The very first one spotted us on the left, and he busted us and he ran off. And the others didn't know that we were there. So they sort of were still looking around trying to find us. And this specific bull ran and stopped, and with a literal space of a meter by a meter. Perfect shot. And we were on the sticks, and she had a lot of time. She made a good shot. Jake still didn't see the shot. He was looking at a completely different kudu.
Yep.
And he was like,
they all fucking look good to me, right? He's like, we're excited. All the bulls look like fucking winners to me. So I don't know which one we're going to shoot or which one we're looking. I tried to just stay back a little. Anyways.
So anyway, she made a beautiful shot.
All I knew is when she shot, they all fucking scattered like a perfect rainbow. They went in different directions. And I had no idea which one she had shot.
Yeah. So we followed up, and the area where we hunted it's terrible to track animals. The ground is so hard.
It's cotton soil. It's no sand at all.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, so you can't really see the tracks. And we were quite close to a cattle fence. And all I did was go up to the cattle fence, and I looked at where they jumped over, and I actually showed Jake what an animal that got injured or got shot, what happens with their hooves. They open slightly, and I showed him this one is fine, this one's fine, this one's fine, this one is shot. And as we went over the second fence, he was lying on the other side.
Yeah.
15, 20 meters on the other side.
Yeah.
And we just freaked out.
These two, man.
Jake started
a huge celebration.
Jake started crying.
Yeah.
We hugged.
Yeah.
The second time in this podcast, it said you were crying. I got a question for you on the tracking, because I believe you know what you're talking about. But how come on that water buck you were so quick to call for Douglas, the tracker?
To be honest, after looking at, so we don't have very good faith. No. This is generally talking. When you shoot an African animal and it drops to the ground and it gets up and it runs like a new one from there, that is not good news.
Mm-hmm.
That is terrible news. So especially a big animal, and I'm not talking about shooting something with a 4.58 or a 4.16, small caliber, 6mm. He's not supposed to fall over from the shot that you gave him. So either one of two things happen. You either spined him, which he then won't get up, he'll flop around on the ground, or you knock the wind out of him by hitting a shoulder or something like that. Then they drop to the ground and they get up and run like a new one. So I called the tracker and got the backup gun ready to go to war, to be honest. No judging.
But you have never seen a 115 D-Tac nose ring.
I have never seen one. I've seen one now, and I am a believer.
Uh-huh.
I am a believer.
And this one went all the way through?
Yeah, like I went out there because we thought I hit him the second time high, and that's what killed him. But it is like it is like middle of the shoulders, hole through both.
All the way through. Shit.
200 and, let's call it 300 yards.
Yeah.
So
290.
with that type of hole right where it should be through the animal, it's impressive. Then he got up and ran away like that, huh?
No, that's incredible.
He ran a long way again.
Yeah.
Like I said, they don't. Usually, there's meat. Like an elk, there's pieces of the animal, hair, meat. Your guys' shit don't bleed.
Just soaks it up.
It does. It just takes it.
But he was also
so you can kind of understand our concerns.
Oh, absolutely, no doubt.
Okay, there is. I always try to tell people there is a difference between North American game and South African game. You have to understand the level of predators we've had historically.
Yeah,
it's just a lot more than.
And there's a difference in the density because if I did shoot an elk. I shot an elk a lot farther than that, 782 yards, and that thing has very little bloodshot. Like the meat is denser, the bones are denser because there's hardly any bloodshot in that, and there's totally just look like chaos of bloodshot on that elk.
Yeah.
I mean, these things are built to fuck up animals, like lions and shit. So
So I understand your concerns.
Yeah.
They built differently.
Well, my favorite hunt's obviously the buffalo. I mean, it wasn't the most difficult one from the trip, but there's just something about hunting buffalo or dangerous game in general. You can just see looking around at Luke and Blaine that everybody kind of knows exactly what we're doing. It's when we're hunting plains game, we're taking a stroll. I mean, we're just walking and we're looking around, stopping. When we're hunting buffalo, we're serious. It's like before we got out of the truck, I showed Luke and Blaine. It's like, listen here, this is the keypad to my phone. This is the number for Edwin, because you have to be serious about what we're about to be doing. It's not a kudu that we're going to shoot. We prepare for the worst and hope for the best. It's not like every buffalo hunt ends up in a charge, but we need to be honest with each other that, listen here, this is a dangerous animal. People do get injured, and we need to be prepared for that. So there is a level of seriousness that goes along with it. And we had a plan. We spoke to the owner of the property before, and he says they come out of the mountains at night and they go back in the morning. So be on the mountain before dark and catch them coming back. And that's exactly what happened. So we had a good plan, and the plan was executed fairly well. So that's why everything was maybe a little bit easier than it generally goes. But there is just the level of being switched on and keeping your head on a swivel is a lot more than hunting plains game. So
when we went to the herd that you have, when we went in there looking for a sable, Neville kind of gave us a rundown, and I'm like, oh yeah, whatever. And we get in there and we're walking, and one pops up at like 20 yards, and they look very pissed off.
Yeah.
And then I look at Neville, and he's like, you can tell there's a switch.
Yeah.
And he's like, we surprised them. This is not good. Let's move along, move along, move along. And you could tell the seriousness in his voice.
It's different.
Yes.
It's definitely different. So even though I enjoyed Jessica's shot, like purely shooting wise, that's what I love, is getting a good solution, getting a good stable position, working with what you have. I mean, we didn't have a bipod. Obviously, the double pull would have been nice, but making that shot was a lot of fun. But I think it's still a notch below.
What other dangerous game animals here kind of compared to a buffalo?
Crocodile is also, like, price wise, you can get a buffalo and a lion is probably going to be around about the same.
Okay.
Maybe a lion's maybe a little bit more than buffalo. And then crocodile is also considered to be dangerous game. Not that a crocodile is going to kill you, but hunting a crocodile requires a lot of skill.
You have to use a 375 on a crocodile?
Yes.
Holy crap.
From then on, a bump up after that would be hippo, elephant, and then obviously even more than that would be rhino. But buffalo is good value for money. It's a lot of animal and a lot of preparation for not too much. But hopefully next year we can do a croc and we can see what that's all about.
Tanya's on board with that already. But her shooting a 375 will be interesting.
Maybe we'll download it. Don't worry.
So talking about that, and Blaine, Blaine's been your best friend every day for the last 6 months.
100 days.
Is that like not just for clients trying to get a hold? Is that what you want in a client? Is all the questions?
Oh yes, the more questions, because I can kind of get a feel of their preparation, and the more prepared they are, I can understand that they are taking this serious.
So then you were pretty worried about me and Ryan then.
Well, if you told me you're going to shoot a buffalo, I would have been.
Yeah.
Probably would have been with this bloody 6mm.
Uh-huh.
Yeah. So that's why Ryan doesn't want to shoot a buffalo. It's illegal to shoot it with 6 UM.
Oh.
So no, I wasn't worried about you guys. I was just a little bit more relaxed with Blaine because I knew he's putting down the research. He's reading the books I'm telling him to read. He's loading what I'm telling him to load.
I think Blaine did every possible thing that could be done beforehand.
Blaine probably told Neil how to do it when he came here.
Yeah, Blaine was like,
Neil, get the fuck out of the way. I got this.
This is what we're going to do. Yeah, and I mean,
funny shit.
we're taking a lot of people in there. We had to take Luke in there, and Douglas was there behind us because I need to carry the sticks. I can't carry sticks and rifle and backup and everything. So Douglas is behind us. Luke is in there. So yeah. And another thing now that I'm talking about Luke that I'm very surprised about is the amount of animals we get on camera. Like we have cameras with us a lot, and it's generally about a 50-50 type of deal. And we are getting a lot of shots on camera, which is very nice. It's always nice. It's a good memento to have. You can always show people. And
and we will have kind of a culmination video of the trip when we get all done here.
I was impressed with not with the dikers. We had more time, but him getting that buffalo today. There was not a lot of time, or not buffalo. The water buck. Yeah, there was not a lot of time, and you got it. So good kudos, Luke.
Was that a compliment from Ryan, Luke?
It was.
What do you got there?
We did have to shoot his hat.
Luke wants to come tell a story. You don't want to tell it?
Luke can eat a hat, but he can't eat an impala.
It's a short story, basically.
Oh, you going to come over here and defend yourself?
Well, no, we just have this one rule that we're not allowed to turn back for your hat. So if your hat falls off and we have to stop the whole hunting operation and turn back for your hat on the back of the truck, you have to put a bullet in it.
Mm-hmm.
A bullet or an arrow, depending on what you're hunting. So everybody's been very... What's the word I'm looking for?
Careful.
Yeah.
And then we were driving in a buffalo area, and everyone takes a corner, and just a little stick just grabs Luke's hat, and I can see him lengthen his body by 12 inches, reaching back, trying to grab the hat, and the hat just floats and falls down to the ground. And he wanted to jump off and get it, and I was like, "Leave it, Luke. We'll get back to this.
We'll get your hat.
We'll get your hat." So,
and of course, it was in a buffalo situation.
Yes.
Yeah.
And then he shot it with my buffalo gun. And now there's a big.
It was a good shot with the buffalo gun.
Yep.
Yeah.
What is your buffalo gun?
My buffalo gun's a 458 Lott. It's loaded with a 500 grain cup nose solids. So that's basically a monolithic, but it looks like a big as 9mm hollow point. So it expands to a certain point and then it does not expand anymore. And it's not like a Barnes it's got a big tunnel in the inside. So we call them cup nose solids. And then after that, I shoot a 500 grain yellow copper solid with a 65% me-plat.
Oof.
Yes. For the people who geek out about that stuff. Yes. So the 458 Lott came about. The Americans wanted to hunt dangerous game. They couldn't get all the Holland and Hollands and all the Rigbys from England, so they said, "Screw it. We'll make our own dangerous game rifle." So Winchester made the 458 Winchester or 58 Win Mag, shooting heavier bullets, but the powders back then weren't fairly great. So they shot compressed loads, trying to get them up to speed, and they could never get them. And there's a few stories about people getting charged, a few squibs, really horror stories. And then there was a guy called Jack Lott who got charged by a buffalo shooting a 458 Win Mag, and he said, "Screw it, I am bettering this thing." So he took a 375 H&H case and blew it out to a straight wall cartridge and put a 500 grain bullet in there, and that's the birth of the 458 Lott.
On that note, like the 300 Ultra, that whole series is built off of 404 Jeffries. Is that even used anymore? Or?
Yes, 404 Jeffries. They are used in the neighboring, in Zimbabwe, in the parks. The parks board use a lot of 404 Jeffries. It's a very underrated caliber. I think the whole reason Blaine might be able to tell the story a lot better, he reads more than I do. There was a very famous guide who had a double rifle. I'm forgetting his name, so please guys don't. And his double broke. He went to a gun shop, and in the gun shop, he was a famous writer as well. In the gun shop, there was only a 416 Rigby. And he bought the 416 Rigby to use as his backup while he's waiting for his double to be fixed. And he wrote a lot of stories of animals he shot and he backed up with that 416 Rigby. And the popularity of a 416 Rigby went this way and 404 Jeffries went that way. Gotcha. Based on the books he wrote. Yeah. Yes, Harry Selby. Yes. And that's,
of course, Blaine knew who it was.
I don't read a lot of books, sorry. So that's why the reason why the 416 got a lot more attention and the 404 Jeffries.
What is the bullet out of a 404? Like, what is the bullet of choice?
I don't know.
What's the bullet out of a 416 Rigby?
It's 400 grain.
400 grain.
Yes, yeah. But it's 40 cal bullets.
Gotcha.
Yeah. Yes. So
it's like you always stick to the knowledge base of your whatever you're looking at. When you talk anything above 375, I don't know fucking anything. Yeah. Do you, Jake? Like, I don't know anything either. So when you hear Blaine, when you hear you guys talk about it, you're like, I wonder what the fuck that is.
No, it's fun getting into big boars. It's fun to get into them. It's fun shooting them. Just because you know what they are. It's the nostalgia behind it. So now that we have 2 458 Lotts in cam, the table you see in front of us is an elephant ear. There's a buffalo up there. There's the pictures of our grandfather who shot a bunch of elephant, and he had a 458 Lott. So I've always had something about the caliber, but never could get my hands on one. So a couple of years ago, I bought mine, and now we have 2. So we'll definitely put them to work. And I'm not interested in anything else. I'm not saying it's the 6UM of Dangerous Game cartridges, but it's definitely 458 Lott packs a lot of energy. Not going to need anything more.
So there's no need for like into the 500 series?
No. I don't think in terms of penetration, it's really necessary to go anything bigger. Most people in double shoot 470s. And in my opinion, a 458 Lott still penetrates. I will out-penetrate a 470 Nitro Express. If you just look at a bullet going a certain speed, and that 458 bullet has probably the best sectional density of any bullet out there. And sectional density is king in Dangerous Game cartridges.
And I know we'll hit this again. We'll do probably one more podcast at least, but I've already had 2 people reach out, and there'll be more people reaching out to Jake and Blaine. And how do they get a hold of you if they want to hunt here?
Well, you can send us an email at info@redsandsafaris.com. You can reach us on Facebook at Red Sand Safaris, Instagram at RSS Pro Hunter is my personal handle, and the Red Sand Safaris is the business Insta page. So I respond very well on everything on my phone. So Facebook message me, Instagram message, slide into my DMs is what I'm saying.
Slide into my DMs. You have openings for next year.
Yes. So I've got a few penciled in, but there's definitely still openings for 2025 season. Mm-hmm. Season starts in April and ends in September because that's kind of when the US season really kicks in. Mm-hmm. So even though we can hunt in October, we tend to kind of stop around this time frame, end of August, early September. Best time to hunt for rifle lines is probably that mid-May, right in bear season, because that's peak rut for us. Mm-hmm. So Impala rut is very vocal. It's gnarly as shit. It's the best time to be out because they just chase each other around, and the kudus are chasing cows around. So it's a very busy and a vocal hunt. It looks a lot different than it does now. it's a little bit more green. Bow hunters tend to come later in the season, and dangerous game hunts we book only from July onward because we need the grass to die down a little bit. Because the buffalo, they'll circle back on their own tracks to come bite you. So
I was kind of like not hesitant, but I was like, damn, this is like right into the hunting season, in North America. But now that I've done it, it's like, man, you kind of get the bugs worked out. You kind of freaking are pumped up to go try to fucking find animals you can't fucking find. Yeah, so it's kind of like a precursor. You've already shot some animals. You're kind of going into it fresh and ready.
Fresh and ready, yep. It's definitely a good chance to test out some stuff. You get to bring 1 or 2 rifles out. You shoot a little bit with this one, shoot a little with that one. So you can test new stuff. Maybe it's a new scope. Maybe it's a new bino. So it's really fun coming out. And you get to extend your season longer. I mean, while it's fishing season in the States, you get to come to South Africa while it's our winter. So yeah, and it's a long, I mean, even with bear hunting being the whole May, you can still June, July, August is very good hunting in South Africa.
Well, the cool part about here is you get to walk a little bit and shoot a lot. The way we hunt in, public land in North America, especially in the West, is you get to walk a lot and shoot very little.
Yes.
So this is definitely getting some trigger time.
And like with Blaine, I mean, it's a 7-day hunt. We shot his buffalo the first day. In the States. That's done. You're cooking for the rest of the week in camp. Now you get to go out with everyone else, experience some of their hunting, maybe shoot an impala here and there. So it's not about one and done.
Yeah.
Because a lot of time, you would like to extend it a little bit. You want to hunt 3-4 days until you shoot your animal. But what if you find a good elk first day? What are you doing? Smoking him.
Depends on what a good elk is for who's hunting.
Yes.
What are you doing?
Fuck, if it's a 5x5 or bigger, it's done.
Like we had this place in Montana and Jake's like, well, I'm going to fucking shoot the first thing with horns.
It was the first morning, and it's the place I was telling you about. So it's the first morning, and the bulls are coming up off the ranch into the shootable area that we can hunt. And there was probably what looked like 6 or 7 bulls we were picking through, and we found what we thought was the biggest one, and we literally watched him for like 30 fucking minutes. So I have the rifles prone. It's a downhill shot. It was 840 yards. So I got a lot of time. I dry fired a bunch of times, got comfortable. And as soon as that guy stepped across the line, it was bang flop, and that was
that
done.
30 minutes was probably felt like 3 weeks.
It was fucking forever, dude. It was like he's not in here right now, but it was like waiting for that fucking oryx to move behind that bush. Like 15 minutes in that damn scope was forever.
He probably wanted to shoot him like at 1,000 yards already.
I'm going to shoot him in the head.
Yeah, it was kind of. So we were like up on this hill, and he was walking this way. So it was almost it was the same distance like the whole time. It was just the wrong spot. It had to be up here a little bit. You know what I mean?
He was already like looking. Is there anyone in the ranch that can shimmy? Go and get that thing. Is there anyone looking?
Well, it sucks when you're, if it's private land and you got to wait and you're kind of at the mercy of that animal's movement. And then as soon as it hits that line, it's go time. But sometimes they turn around and walk back, and sometimes it's fucking just infuriating.
Well, in that situation, you talk about injuring an animal, and then it wants to run downhill. Well, that's downhill right there, right? So if you didn't hit him well,
you
he was
can't
going
go fetch
onto
them.
the wrong fucking he's going back onto the property.
So you can't go and fetch them on the other
That
side.
particular ranch won't let you go.
No.
This ranch has, at this point in time, it's kind of like they're migrating down to lower, has 4,000 to 6,000 elk on it.
Yeah. Sure. So you can look from where we glass, and you'll look like 4 or 5 miles out with your spotter, and you'll just see this fucking herd up on a plateau. And it's 1,000 head there, and 1,000 head over here, and 1,000 head over here.
But luckily they hunt them, so they push them off and push them on. And there's I don't want to say where we're at, but there's a fucking substantial amount of elk where we're at.
Yeah.
So every
it's in
day,
Montana, guys.
Yep, it's in the whole state of Montana. You see probably 100 elk a day you can kill.
Yeah,
I would say, but there's a lot of little bulls.
Where in Montana?
Somewhere between Idaho and North Dakota.
For the listeners.
It's really been, so this spot was given to us by a friend through business. And then the next time we had the opportunity, we say, hey, do you mind if we go in there and hunt your spot? And he said, no problem. And then, we kind of go back into the same
It's not easy.
process.
Yeah, it's not hard to get to, but it's a long fucking walk.
In fact, we plan on going a couple miles. We're gonna probably, it's gonna be a 9-mile walk to base camp. this next go around because we're going to go in a bit further and have a little bit more opportunity. But
yeah, so and cool thing about Montana is we didn't draw, but you get put into an alternate list, and it's between in 1 to 2 many people put in. It's like 2,800 people put in, and I got number 4.
I was like number 1,800 and something, and he got number 4. So he got a tag through a draw deal, and then because he gets a tag, a youth can go off of his tag. So my boy will get a tag off of his tag for half price. So now we have 2 bull tags for
nice,
and then we'll have our preference points again for next year.
Yep, but you don't lose my
so
preference.
We'll draw
points.
again next year. And then,
Africa is just so different. It is cool because you can come over here. There's no drawing. There's no. If you got some dollars, you can shoot some fucking animals.
Yep. And if we like you.
Oh, and if you like.
Yeah.
Well, and having a smaller, and like a more family, it seems like orientated business.
Yeah.
This isn't like a big fucking consumer fucking thing where capital all that matters and you're just a name and a number. To you, it's a small fucking family ran business and it matters to you guys. You guys can tell it matters to you.
Yeah.
Thank you.
That's important.
Yeah.
All right.
Now I would like to hear them, their thoughts about us.
Ooh.
Even if we have to leave just so we can listen to it later.
You might have to leave.
Is it, what do you get? What do you want to be called? Guides, assholes, PHs? What?
Well, yeah, guides. You want to know why we are called guides? Have you ever driven a rubber duck before? A rubber duck boat? Where the motor sits in the back?
Okay.
Mm-hmm.
And then how do you drive a rubber duck boat? You like this?
Mm-hmm.
And that's what we do. It's like, we tell you, it's not over here, motherfucker. It's over there. It's like driving a rubber duck.
Hey, don't you see the fucking oryx is
Yeah,
right there?
right there.
It's right fucking in front
And
of
we
you.
grab
Why
you
can't you see
by
it?
the barrel, and it was like, not over there,
Yeah.
over here, dude.
You set the tripod up and put the rifle on
Yeah.
top. Literally, it's pointing at the fucking oryx right there.
Yeah.
Why can't you see it?
And it's so funny that because you listen to podcasts, I've listened to a few African podcasts about hunting in Africa, and they're like, the people cannot see the animals. And I was like, oh, fuck. Like I said on that Impala, I'll see the fuck. I fucking couldn't see it. So I get it now. Like, come on, you dumb fucking American.
See the thing.
Yeah.
All right.
All right. Thanks for listening.
Thank you.